The theme of the whole two-year project at the Center for Creative Connections is space. So as a collaborative group we started talking about space and the idea of a living room. So it went through lots of different iterations and conceptualizing it. And we got to the point of trying to connect kind of a traditional kind of material-based approach to space with a virtual concept of space. And so that's where we ended up getting this room of felt with this large virtual cube in the middle, which came out of a lot of conversations, discussions, debates back and forth with a group of artists. So what we ended up settling on was this room where there was a very tactile room where the walls are actually literally the artist hand-laid felt over probably almost like 4 or 5 days, right?
Yeah.
And there's embedded speakers in the wall. And then we built this cube in this space that's actually 4 55-inch LCD screens. And the concept was to create in a sense, almost a virtual volume of physical space. If you look in the projection, you see these little white lines which kind of give away the one-point perspective. But this, in a sense, is looking inside the cube. And so if you track around the cube, you'll actually see these objects, which are actually pieces of felt, conceptual pieces of felt, are moving in and out of the space. You'll actually see from any of the different sides of the cube a kind of a real-time mapping of where they would be if you were looking at the volume of cube from that specific side. And the pieces of felt, as you'll notice as they move, they change colors a little bit. So this one's actually kind of going from a yellow to a white. Once the pieces leave this kind of inner world, they're then theoretically floating in the space that we're standing in right now. And you can actually hear a mapping of the sound as they kind of pass through the front of, when they leave the cube, into this space, and eventually they go into the walls themselves. And then you actually hear them moving through the walls.
We're exploring a kind of an aesthetic problem, where science might explore some other kind of problem, but there's a lot of science that goes in here. The sounds are placed in space because we have 2 ears, so all that physics is part of the way I decide how loud an object that's in a particular location would be represented in each of the speakers in the room.
So all the sound is pretty accurately mapped spatially through the room, and so this is a cube kind of in a cube in another cube. So that's kind of the basic concept. So it took a lot of code. So I basically had to write a rendering engine, a simple physics engine. We had to incorporate vision, or we have a library that does vision detection, and we had to translate the vision detection, and we had to coordinate the vision detection and the physics engine with the rendering engine and send it all across the network. So there's a fair amount of code in this project because of that.
Alright, so this is Max MSP. This is the code that handles the door greeting. That handles the chase the cricket business. This is just the overall volume and settings for the room. You can see some physics there. Actual size, about 4.3 feet. But we change that, we cheat. We're not bound by reality. Okay, this is the mother of all patches. Wow. And then you can peer inside it and see some more stuff.
So it was wonderful, the collaboration, but it was challenging too. It changes the work.
What happens is we all wrote what we wanted out of the project or what we thought would be great for you. And what you had to realize working with a group was that you're not coming out with your own project, you're coming out with just everybody's ideas, and it keeps on changing.
Ultimately, what comes out is very much about a process of negotiation. And it's interesting that it becomes something that you recognize but is completely new, completely unfamiliar. That was a very exciting and challenging part of the project.
And I've had people that have come in that spent time that didn't hear any explanation from us explain to me what they thought was going on. And their explanation was either dead on right or far more interesting than anything I would have ever imagined.